go. And if you guys could make sure you're muted too, that'd be helpful. Hi, welcome everyone. Uh, it's our one of our October community Zoom calls, and today we're talking about the Star Children who are already here, who have been here, and then who are really going to start coming in 2026 through 2027 and beyond. So I really feel like I've been working up to this, and I just wanted to I actually rewind a little bit about myself for anyone just finding me. I am feel like it's a very much a calling for me to start translating the energies that are happening on our planet right now as we go through an ascension from the third dimension to the fifth dimension. That's what some people call it, or the transition from like our personality matrix to our soul matrix. Another way to view it would be from really living in our mind mental space to our heart centered space and really embodying love. And as we go through this transition, as everyone is probably feeling, and it's really hard to not see and feel and sense everything around, there's a lot of chaos when there's a huge change that is coming about, and which is what's happening right now. So, this chaos can take so many forms and it can create a fear inside, and that can stem from so many things. And one of the main things I find is like a fear of change, really, because I think we all intuitively sense things shifting and sense things changing, but we can't really make sense of it. So, that's why I'm doing this, trying to make sense of this so that everyone feels really rooted, empowered in themselves, and can give themselves permission to really shine so bright, heal, love, and that is just as valuable, if not the most valuable thing we can each do individually right now in the midst of a lot of chaos and a lot of energetic turbulence happening. So today, the Star Children. And so if you do like these videos, please by all means subscribe. Please share them, forward them on. Join my mailing list if you want to join live. Once I hit the stop of the recording button, we do these twice a month, and that gives you an opportunity to ask questions, and preferably related to the topic, but it doesn't have to be. If you're just, have a burning desire to know what's going on, I will try my best to answer it. And I get my information. I had a conversation with someone this week about research and stuff. So I do get my information from the angelic realm and from other galactic beings of light, like the Pleiadians and the Sirians primarily. Um, um, so that is where all of this comes from. And when it resonates really within my heart center, that's how I know it to be true. And so then I just share it, and you take what you want with it and leave what doesn't resonate. So a few years ago, I started receiving messages about DNA, and I was confused because I'm not a scientist and I don't understand this. So, so if you are a scientist listening to this, this might be entertaining. But I started receiving really, really pointed messages from the angelic guides about how our DNA is the key to everything. At the same time, I started studying human design and the gene keys, a huge deep dive into that. And that helped give me a spiritual framework for the DNA conversation that the angelic guides were having with me. And it was mostly around your DNA right now is super limited. This is not your full DNA. People are calling the rest of the DNA junk, and it's not junk. And I wrote a couple of notes actually in my phone when these things, I call them downloads, were coming through my vessel. And now looking back 3 years, I'm like, okay, this makes so much sense. And I feel like this is where we're landing today going forward. It's a DNA activation that we're all doing if we're curious about this ascension path and we feel called. And who is here to start breaking into the system of the two strand DNA into like the bigger DNA and the bigger light bodies? It's our children. And it started about 2012. Really, I mean, probably before that, and there have been other times in history people have come to Earth fully activated in their full DNA templates. However, in 2012, the kids really started coming with more DNA than the two strand and more light in their energetic fields. And this has, we've tried to put labels and boxes around that because from our perspectives, it looks different and it is different, but it's normal. And this is going to be new normals going forward as they start coming in with their full 12 strand DNA activated. And so I'm just going to now leave the science stuff aside. That was the background. The kids coming in who are the star childrens with various templates from, however they created their being to come in with, they are embodying more light. So their cells are holding more light. Their energetic fields, which expand outside of the physical body, are more light. They are bright. You can even see in their eyes. I There's one that maybe about 3 years old that I know that when I look in their eyes, it's sparkly, blinding brilliance. And so this is going to become the new norm as they kind of come to see this new light, see these new templates to help move humanity forward on our evolution. And it can be very scary if we don't know what's going on, and it can even bring up things in our own self because these kids understand they are pure energy. The communication, their primary form of communication, energy, they're embodying the energy. They're not going to rely so much even on words, spoken word, written word. Some will, some won't. It's more telepathic and it's more intuitive for these children. And along those lines, even with the gender non-conforming, this is completely normal to them because they're embodying an energy that they know they're here to embody, and it does not relate to their physical body part. So when we're seeing this more and more, what we're seeing are star children being truly authentic to themselves. Because when I say they're here with all more light in their physical vessel, more light in their energetic vessel, what that translates to be is that they have a direct connection to their soul, to their higher self. Their veil is very, very thin, if not in the future non-existent. And one very close to me, really, there's no veil there and has not been for most of her life. So, because of that, they embody authenticity. All of whether they're on a neurodivergent spectrum, a gender spectrum, we can find all the labels we want. And I say this all the time, we are going to run out of labels and boxes for them because they are just here in true spirit, operating as their beautiful, beautiful light selves. And for those of us who have been here on Earth for a while or who are kind of new to this, it can be jarring because we don't understand and maybe we're worried for their safety or maybe we're worried for whatever reason because it's a change. And so I think the number one thing is to put the worries aside and trust they know who they are because their authenticity is so, so strong. That is the pathway forward to the fifth dimension, as I started talking about in the beginning of the video. They are cracking holes in all of our illusions that kind of form this construct here on Earth that we've been operating under for a few thousand years. They're cracking holes in that by simply being themselves. And that's exactly what they're meant to do. And we have to offer them our full unconditional love and support and acceptance in doing that. Okay, so just going to take a breath. I hope this makes sense so far to everyone. So they are embodying authenticity, they are embodying pure love. And what can happen, and this is going to become easier and easier because the energies here are thinning. they're elevating. Humans as a collective are becoming more awake and conscious. And so just by simply that, when they come down with their high resonant frequency, it won't be as dissonant anymore. So if we even take 5 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, when the kids would come with that high energetic frequency or a different frequency that they were here to embed in earth that might look not typical, thus I guess the term neurotypical or not neurotypical. I wish we had better words because they're just simply being themselves, but it's super hard. So I honor all of them that have come up through this far, being their authentic true self in the face of a planet with such density that they've had to get that energy to try to poke holes through so that the light can come down for everyone and help us all. Um, okay, so they are going to shatter our gender norms. They're going to shatter our societal norms, our institutional norms, and those include school and those include medical systems. And this is all going to be okay. So we're going to need to get comfortable with the fact that things are going to change for the better. They're going to change more rooted in love for all, unity for all, and that there are habits or beliefs or agreed upon collective rules, actually is what they are, that are going to be no longer. And so when the kids come here with their amazing star qualities, embodying their true, big, authentic energies, the number one thing we can do to help them is not try to put them back into the exact system that they're here to poke holes in and kind of break down. And so this can, in terms of the gender stuff, include not trying to make them choose, even a label or a box of being transgender, being, whatever it is. We want to just give them the freedom of energetic expression in whatever form that's going to come through. And allow for the fact that that could change at any moment because they are clearly know what they're doing and know who they're embodying here. And so to trust in that and support and love that. And why is that triggering to everyone? This is very interesting because the brighter light that they come here with, if we think of a flashlight or we think of a lighthouse, it shines light on all the darkness. So we need the light sometimes to see the dark. So they embodying their true, beautiful, authentic selves. When someone says like it's triggering or they don't understand it and it's coming up against their exact rules and regulations of how the physical gender should be, it's simply that their bright light is shining the spotlight on shadow parts that maybe aren't in authenticity in someone else, or a belief that needs that light kind of shown on, because we have to break those down internally in order for our outside world to change. Okay, so they are disruptors and they're here doing this on purpose, and it's going to be a beautiful thing in the future. In the short term, it's going to look a little messy. Energy is how they communicate. It's funny because I am watching the Survivor season and there's an older person like who's upset or who can't understand how the others on his tribe are saying like vibe and the vibe check and the vibe of the tribal. This is exactly how all the children are going to operate in the future, and really how many operate now is in pure energy, which is why when they become in the leadership positions and everything as time moves on, their authenticity and empathy and vibe check are going to be amazing because that's going to bring the love through our earth as a collective where we need it the most. Okay, so they have gifts that are so innate and so natural. And because they don't have that veil, or the veil is thinner in the ones that are here slash non-existent, they have that direct channel to their soul, whether they know they do or not. They are here to bring their very gifts to life. And so we essentially have to get out of their way in a way, also be guiding them as parents, because they are children. However, not clog their channel with information and stuff that's like not important. And so a lot of this actually is going to require a change in our institutions of school, in recognizing that not every kid needs the same information or the same subjects taught to them at the same time and at the same rate and the same speed, because these kids, they know what their gifts are, their talents are, and they need a place and a freedom to bring those to life. Uh, we have to trust in that. So this is going to be a process. I know as parents, first we need to trust in it and then like advocate for them where we can. Sometimes their gift is simply a frequency. They're simply here, and these could be the kids that are nonverbal. They're simply here with a specific frequency that they are here to send to the earth that connects. If you think of a signal, even if you think of a cell phone, a radio, whatever you want, and a channel, and you're tuning to a channel and it's staticky until you kind of like find the channel and then it's clear. Or a Wi-Fi signal. Okay, we put the password, now we're on that channel. And like I have my own channel, someone else has their own channel. Sometimes these channels are so specific and so special that it looks like they are not communicating to other people here around you, maybe in a traditional way with their words. But they are very, very much communicating with their very, very special frequency to the energy on Earth and to their star family who are on the other end of the frequency. And so just opening up that pathway with them through your eye contact, through practicing of sending visuals, practice of sending your heart energy to them, instead of trying to get them to adapt to what's going on in Earth, just honoring exactly who they are and that and who they came to be and the frequency they came to embody, because it's beautifully divine in its own right. So that was sort of like an aside. They're going to be more in tune with nature, animals, the earth, wanting to spend time barefoot, reconnect, because they know that's how they're going to recharge their light. Quirky thing I've noticed, they recover from sicknesses sometimes very quickly. And I heard one child one mention it as I can restore my light quickly or quicker than most. So that's also something interesting. Uh, that's beautiful. Okay, they don't understand boxes. They don't like boxes. They're not here to fit into any boxes. And that includes anything, a role, a gender, a sexuality, um, an age constriction. They're not going to subscribe to the linear path of this first, then this, then that. They're simply embodying themselves. So the faster we can get on board with that, the faster we can help them actually. And I started videos on my YouTube channel with this roadmap. So if you go back to the other videos, the roadmap of the inner work of the breaking of identities and all of that is leading to like us finding our self-empowerment, finding our authenticity. It's where these kids are coming and starting at. So it may be helpful to go back to those videos actually as well. All right. So uh how to I took notes, sorry, just so I don't get super sidetracked. So how we can best support them. I've kind of sprinkled it in throughout this video. The number one thing that I said already, not trying to put them back into any boxes. So that takes a lot of inner curiosity, inner work, and comfortability with new things, and change. Also, the unknown. And so I've done this over the past several years, and it's not easy. And I find myself still struggling sometimes with certain aspects at time, like, okay, that's trying to sneak me back into, a mindset that I truly know I don't identify with, but it's really hard to do something differently. So the more we can all do something differently, the faster this will go. The number one question that I always ask myself and I impart on my children, am I making this decision out of fear or out of love? And this applies to every single decision I make. It can be a medication. Am I wanting this medicine because I'm afraid that a child's behavior is upsetting others? Or am I really wanting this medicine right now because my child is suffering and I just need a bridge for them to feel, happiness and this is temporary? And I know there's all different ranges of this. I'm not going to go all into this. But I really do ask myself that question. Am I telling my child, you must do your best in every subject because I'm afraid of the bad grades or I'm afraid of how it's going to look? Or can I take a step back and say, hey, you know what? I know this is interfering with your natural gift of creativity, theater, drama, arts, what have you. Just get by in math. Like just get by. Do what you need to do. I don't want it to clog your channel. Ooh, that feels like uncomfortable, but that's the exact path us as parents are really going to begin to go on. Also, as beautiful teachers in the world that are going to start seeing these changes in their classrooms. So the second thing we can do is really look inward. That's kind of attached on to what I just said. Really look inward at how we can embody our own authenticity, about how we can stand in love for all children, no matter what, even if it looks a little bit strange. Like, how do we just love and support them? How do we change within first so we're so secure with ourselves? Sometimes this is ancestral healing because sometimes we have parents who also, this is totally normal course of evolution, but we had a lot of pressure maybe placed on grades, on a college path, or on behavior, I guess. And so, really stepping out of that and just honoring all ways of being. Okay, the third one, trust them, trust the kids, listen to them, and trust yourself, especially when interacting with others who maybe don't understand the choices you're making. It's okay that they don't understand. This goes back to the inner work and the inner comfort and inner love. Trusting yourself and trusting that these kids really know themselves is the key, really, to moving forward with that surrender. Okay, this next one's a big one. This is the last one. Advocating at schools and in the medical communities for what you feel to be true as the path forward. And I'm going to give one quick example for the school system. I come from a family of teachers. I honor teachers, and I don't even know what I would love to reach out to some teachers and see if they're experiencing this in their classrooms now. And it may be actually geographical the more I think about this. Uh, it may be geographically dependent. But I'm noticing that the children don't want to read anything that's bringing their vibration down. And schools are, I feel like, slower to catch up to that. So they're still doing a lot of natural disaster novels or dystopian novels or war novels where a lot of people are dying, a lot of things about death. And it hurts, like, I'll use my child as an example, like, kind of like hurts her energetic field. And she doesn't want to read these things anymore. And a couple years ago, I'm like, okay, well, this is assigned reading. And then I thought, well, I'm just going to go talk to the school. And I went, and so every year I go and I talk to the teachers and I say, her nervous system is really, really affected buy horror books, buy suspense novels, buy natural disasters, buy World War II books where everyone is hiding and dying and all of that. I really would prefer if she didn't read these anymore. It's affecting her sleep and all sorts of things. It's causing a lot of discord. So I really had to listen to myself to go do that, and it is conversation I continue to have every year. And it is something I do feel that has to change. But this could also be medication. It could be you want to try natural supplements like magnesium or something for a child first, and that maybe the doctor doesn't want to receive that information from you yet. And there are many that are on board, but I feel like this whole system is going to start to change for the better. So this is a little dip into the Star Children and how we can support them. And I wanted to end with just because their field is so open and that's a direct pathway to their physical body, we often also see a lot of sensory stuff. So just extra care with them. They're very sensitive, I've noticed, to like dairy, which is an inflammatory ingredient, an inflammatory food. They're very sensitive to foods. And what I learned from personal experience is that's because they have heightened senses, even. And so their smell is heightened. And so foods really taste that much more pronounced to them. And so we just have to be patient. And I think that all of this is going to eventually work itself out. The more they're embodying here on Earth, a lot of these things are going to fall by the wayside and can be completely integrated. We're in just that transition period right now. EMFs, extremely sensitive and toxic to EMFs. That are the invisible waves coming off of computers, phones, iPads, electronics, that kind of thing. Any EMF blockers you can get would help immensely. I have those in my house as well. I find I'm also sensitive to them. They make me feel nauseous if I can't even put a computer on my lap directly. The sensory stuff can go to even their need for pressure, touch, hugs. Sometimes when they're dysregulated, the best thing you can do is say, do you, and this is if you're their safe person, do you need a hug? And sometimes they literally just need that human contact in a pressure way to regulate their nervous system. And so a lot of this is nervous system related, again, because of the transition period. So anything we can do to help calm their nervous systems, put on happy music, put on meditation music, encourage them to take alone breaks when they want to have their headphones and shut out the world. Totally understandable. They are just self-regulating. And so to understand that and really encourage them to listen to what they need and trust in that. So we're going to stop recording here and do questions if anyone has any questions. And if you want to join the community and ask questions, please go to the website. You can sign up there. And I think we might continue this topic actually the next time. Okay.